Right now, I'm standing in the version of the world my brain evolved to understand. This scale feels normal. Walls feel solid. The floor feels stable. Distances feel intuitive. At 1.8 meters tall, my senses are turned to this size. My eyes, my balance, even my instincts. Everything is calibrated for a human world. But this is just one layer of reality. Not the only one, not even the most fundamental one. Everything around us is built on worlds far smaller than anything we ever directly experience. So today, I want to step outside my natural scale, not just to get smaller, but to see how reality itself changes when size changes. So let's leave the human world behind. Now let's start the descent.
SYNRIX.
"100 times smaller. Same room, same objects, but the rules of perception already start to shift. At this size, surfaces stop being smooth. They turn into terrain. Dust isn't dust anymore. Each particle is a physical obstacle, something you would have to walk around or climb over. And this is where psychology kicks in. A spider at human scale is just a spider. At this scale, it triggers a completely different reaction. Scale doesn't just change physics, it changes how reality feels. Now we are 1,000 times smaller than human scale, and the world becomes physically extreme. A single hair is now a towering column, thicker than a tree trunk, relative to me. And this is a drop of water. At this scale, surface tensions turn it into a dome, a stretched molecular skin holding the water together. Here, forces between molecules become more important than weight. Stickiness, viscosity, adhesion. At small scales, the world gets thick, not because of size, but because molecular forces start to rule. This is the edge of human vision, a world designed for microscopes, not eyes. Here, life takes on completely new forms, and suddenly, we are not alone. This is a tardigrade, a real animal, 8 legs, a nervous system, muscles, a digestive tract. It can survive extreme cold, extreme heat, radiation, even the vacuum of space. At human scale, it's invisible. At this scale, it's a giant. These are sperm cells, each one about 50 micrometers long, swimming, responding to chemical signals. And this is a red blood cell, oxygen carriers, shaped like flying discs, optimized to squeeze through tiny vessels. At this scale, biology looks like science fiction, but this isn't fiction. This is happening inside you right now. Now, we cross a real boundary. We're no longer just looking at living things. We are entering one. This membrane isn't just a wall. It's a filter, a gatekeeper. It decides what gets in and what stays out. Inside, the cell is crowded, not empty, not calm. It's more like a microscopic city. Molecules rushing, structures moving, chemical signals everywhere. That's the nucleus, It holds the DNA, the long-term memory of the cell. And this is mitochondria. They convert chemical energy into usable fuel. Every second, millions of molecular machines are working. No manager, no blueprint on a wall, just chemistry organized into life. Now we're standing next to bacteria, single-celled organisms. But don't let that fool you. Bacteria ruled this planet for billions of years, before animals ever existed. Even today, most of the biomass on Earth is microbial. And this is a bacteriophage, a virus that infects bacteria. It attaches, injects genetic material, hijacks the cell's machinery. The bacterium stops being a bacterium and becomes a virus factory. Then the cell bursts and new viruses spread. Even here, at microscopic scales, evolution, competition, and survival are happening non-stop. This is DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and it's basically a molecular hard drive. It's made of 4 building blocks, 4 letters: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. A, T, C, G. And it's not random. A always pairs with T via 2 hydrogen bonds, and C always pairs with G via 3 hydrogen bonds, like puzzle pieces. And the order of these letters is basically the code that decides what your body becomes. Different sequences, different proteins, different tissues, different organs, and eventually that becomes a complete human being. Not because DNA is intelligent, but because evolution turned chemistry into a working system. But this system may not always run perfectly. For example, cigarette smoke contains chemical that can attach to DNA. One of the worst is a compound called benzopyrene. Inside your body, it transforms into a reactive molecule that literally binds to DNA. When the cell tries to copy the DNA, the machinery gets confused. It reads the wrong letter. And now, the mutation can become permanent. And the most insane part is this: everything we just saw, every molecule, every gene, every mutation, is still made of something even smaller. Atoms. Now, I'm at the atomic scale, and the world doesn't just get smaller, it gets weirder. This is the place where matter stops acting like matter, and it starts acting like probability. The first thing you notice is that everything is empty. Every solid object you've ever touched is mostly space. The reason your hand doesn't pass through anything isn't because atoms are packed together like bricks. It's because electromagnetic forces push back. Atoms never truly touch each other. Solidity is basically an illusion created by fields. And this tiny structure is what everything is built from. Every planet, every cell, every star, every living creature. The atom. But we didn't always know what an atom really was. In fact, for most of history, atoms were just a guess. The first serious modern atomic model came from John Dalton, early 1800s. He imagined atoms as tiny solid spheres, simple, clean, and honestly, for the science of his time, it made sense. But then something changed. J.J. Thomson discovered the electron, meaning atoms weren't indivisible anymore. So he proposed a new model, a positively charged blob with electrons embedded inside. It was called the plum pudding model. Then came Rutherford, and he absolutely destroyed that model. He fired alpha particles at a thin sheet of gold. Most went straight through, but some bounced back. And that should have been impossible, unless the atom had a dense core, a nucleus. That's when we realized atoms aren't filled with matter, they're mostly empty space. Then Niels Bohr tried to perfect the concept of atoms. He proposed that electrons move in specific energy levels, not any orbit they want. A specific allowed orbit, like a staircase. Electrons could jump between levels, but they couldn't exist in between. This model was a huge improvement, and it explains why atoms emit light in specific colors. But the real breakthrough came with quantum mechanics. Schrödinger showed that electrons don't behave like tiny planets, they behave like waves. And the math that describes those waves creates something called a wave function. The wave function doesn't tell you exactly where the electron is, it tells you where the electron is likely to be found. And that's what an orbital is. But to truly understand matter, we have to go past the electron clouds, all the way to the center of the atom, the nucleus. This tiny region contains almost all of the atom's mass, protons, neutrons, packed together with incredible density, and held in place by the strongest force we know, the strong nuclear force. Change the number of protons, and you change the atom itself. Every element in the universe is defined by a single number, the number of protons inside its nucleus. And that's what makes this so incredible. The difference between all atoms comes down to different arrangements of the same fundamental building blocks. Take hydrogen, the simplest element in existence. Yet, inside stars, hydrogen nuclei fuse together, and in that process, a tiny amount of mass becomes energy. The light of the sun, the warmth on your skin, the energy that powers almost all life on Earth. It all starts here. Then there's oxygen, the element that makes complex life like us possible. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, every thought happening inside your brain. Silicon, the element that became the foundation of technology. Billions of transistors, packed into chips smaller than your hand, performing trillions of calculations every second. The computer used to create this world, the simulations, the animations, even the video you're watching right now, all rely on silicon. Atoms arranged in just the right way, creating machines capable of processing information. And then there's uranium, a massive nucleus packed with enormous stored energy. Unlike lighter elements, uranium can become unstable. When its nucleus changes, part of that energy is released. The same physics can power entire cities, or but atoms alone aren't the end of the story, because atoms rarely stay alone. They bond, they combine. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom become water. A highly reactive metal called sodium combines with toxic chlorine gas and becomes table salt. Rearrange a few atoms and you get glucose. Rearrange them again and you get alcohol. Rearrange them billions of times and you get DNA, cells, trees, animals, human beings, every object you've ever touched, every person you've ever met, every memory you've ever made. Just atoms, connected in different ways. Everything we've seen, every particle, every molecule, every cell, every living creature is built from the same fundamental ingredients. We simply became smaller and discovered that beneath the world we thought we knew, another universe had been there all along. And maybe that's the greatest discovery of all. Not just knowing what everything is made of, but realizing what we truly are. Because understanding reality begins with learning how to see it.
SYNRIX.